Happy Friday, and welcome to Wctv, everybody. I'm Zach Dodge, and today will be my last time anchoring for Season 17. Next week, you can look forward to The Witch and the Warlock for our Halloween episode. But for this week, we're focusing on controversial topics. This will be Wctv's first entirely controversial episode ever, which is kind of a controversy in itself. First on the list, teen pregnancy.
According to DoSomething.org, 3 out of 10 women will become pregnant before the age of 20. To put that into perspective, 318.9 million people live in the U.S. 50.4% of those are women, so that means there are approximately 160.725 million women in the United States. Using that earlier statistic, you'll roughly find that 48 million of these women have become pregnant when they were teens. These women's lives have greatly changed. So, what's it like to become a teenage parent?
I had my baby last school year in April. He is going to be 7 months old in November. It's changed my life because I don't have the same priorities. School is very different. I'm always worrying. I am trying to focus on school as much as I can. I don't get as much sleep. I don't get as much time to myself. And I also don't get to have much time to do homework, so I'm always crunching time. Do not even think about trying to become pregnant. It's hard, very, very hard when you're a teen. You always want to make sure you have a good household. You're stable with almost everything.
Hopefully, this has given a better insight on what it's like to be a teen parent. This has been John Brandt from WCTV.
Some other heartbreaking statistics about teen pregnancy from WymanCenter.org include parenthood being the leading cause of school dropout among teen girls. In fact, this is true for 30% of all teen girls, with minorities having higher rates. 34% of teen mothers earned neither a diploma nor a GED, compared with only 6% of young women who had not had a teen birth. The Syrian refugee crisis hits with heart right in our own school. Here's Jake Nillis with more information.
One of the biggest news stories of the current time is the helpless human beings involved in the Syrian refugee crisis. Although it may not seem like it, this story hits pretty close to home. Let's talk with one of our foreign exchange students to get her input on the Syrian refugee crisis.
Asalam, what is your opinion of the Syrian refugee crisis?
I think it's a really it's a disaster what's happening, because all of these families are stuck in the ocean and in the sea, and no countries are opening their doors for them. And I'm just really upset that it's happening, and I think it shouldn't be happening.
What do you think must be done in order to help all of these refugees?
Countries all over the world, Europe, the United States of America, in the Middle East should open their doors for these refugees. At least that's like the least that they can do, because Syria is going through civil war right now, and no one can help them except like open their country door for them.
Why do you feel so much compassion for these refugees?
First of all, I live in the Middle East, and Syria is one of the neighbor countries for where I live, and they're Arabs like me, so blood moves, I guess. And in 1948, the same thing exactly happened to Palestinians, and I'm a Palestinian, and I know how bad it is and how awful it is to go through that. So,
hopefully, this gives you the sense that these stories affect everyone and not just the people involved. This has been Jake Nellis reporting for WCTV.
According to Wikipedia, the definition of war on drugs is an American term commonly applied to a campaign of prohibition of drugs, military aid, and military intervention, with the stated aim being to reduce the illegal drug trade. But what exactly is this issue, And why does it affect us and our country as a whole? Elise Manchester did some research and found the facts.
The war on drugs. Now, I'm not talking about the violent drug wars in Mexico or the indie band from Philadelphia. I'm talking about the militarization of the U.S.'s anti-drug laws. To fully understand this, we need to go all the way back to 1971. 20% of Vietnam soldiers were addicted to heroin, and in desperation, President Nixon officially declared war on drugs.
America's public enemy number one in the United States is drug abuse.
Drug use continued to grow through the 70s and 80s, and this concerned the Reagan administration, and First Lady Nancy Reagan began her Just Say No movement. Drug usage and fatalities increased, so did government spending. President George H.W. Bush doubled funding for the war on drugs in the 90s. Through these first 3 decades of the war, much of this war was on cocaine and its smokable twin, crack. But in recent years, the drug war grew in a different way. Marijuana has become the drug of choice due to its lack of addictivity and harmful health effects. Many important figures have smoked weed admittedly, including Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama. Even revered President Abraham Lincoln claimed to love smoking his sweet hemp. Many complain that the drug war is largely based off of racism and is costing us more than it's worth. According to the ACLU, over half of all drug arrests are for marijuana. Whites and blacks smoke pot at the same rate, but blacks are 4 times more likely to be arrested. And in our own state, they're 8.5 times more likely. Since the drug war's beginning, incarceration has quintupled, and states are wasting billions on fruitless war with a noun. Accidental ODs only continue to increase, and addiction rates stay the same. Yet federal budgets for the war on drugs has reached $1.5 trillion. There are good things to come out of this war, however. Most Americans are now educated on drugs at a young age through programs like DARE. Some people even claim that there is a benefit of lowered unemployment due to the mass imprisonment of people that we just don't have jobs for. And let's just face it, drugs are bad for you, and we should stop them. So, what do you think about the war on drugs? That's for you to decide.
For the remainder of our show, we'll have the weekend weather update. But first, I would like to congratulate the football team on an 8-0 record and winning the 3A district title for the first time since 1994. Keep up the awesome work. Now the weather.
I'm Tyler Geffert, here with the weekend weather update. The Lynx are most likely going to be playing in some nasty weather, cloudy and cold, with an 80% chance of showers, and a high of 62 and a low of 48. Saturday is partly sunny. The high is 60 and the low is 38. Sunday is going to be sunny, with a high of 61 and a low of 41. This has been your weekend weather update.
Hopefully this show made you think, or as I like to say, gave you some food for thought. Whatever your stance is on these issues, I hope that you have all learned something from this show. This has been Zach Dodge, signing off for my last time as an anchor for Wctv.